Hi everyone, Dr. Justin Golston here. And in this final video for this module, we're going to go through a few more important things in terms of training programs. And one thing that we need to assess is our training and development metrics. So whether it is onboarding, whether it is the continuous training and employee development, we want to provide metrics. We want to track the effectiveness of our training within our organization. Now, training from a workforce perspective is very expensive. It's very time consuming. So we need to measure its effectiveness, and we're going to very quickly go through a few metrics, a few approaches that we can do to measure the effectiveness of our training programs. So the first one is going to be our participant survey form. And again, we continue almost in every video we talk about feedback loops, right? And the participant survey form is going to provide feedback in terms of how the attendees, how the employees felt that the training was that training meaningful? Were there takeaways from that training exercise, from that training session, or was it just a check the box thing? Right. So the employee survey forms is going to provide what we refer to as the qualitative analysis. Is going to provide that data in terms of how the participants, how those employees felt the meaningfulness of that training session. Next, we're going to review the quantitative aspects of our training and development, and that is with pre-test and post-test comparisons. So you'll also see these as pre-assessments and post-assessments, if you will, where you'll provide a pre-assessment or pre-test on certain things that are going to be conducted within this training session. So for example, for sexual harassment, you can provide a pre-assessment of questions centered around sexual harassment of the employees, and you can provide score. You can actually tally the scores of their knowledge of the regulations, of the rules of the organization, as well as from a federal and country perspective in terms of certain things. And then once you go through that assessment, then you can do a post test, a post assessment to compare those scores. So again, that is that quantitative aspect. And then you also have observations and comments. So what we mean by observations and comments is that you could have an external party evaluate the effectiveness of that course, the effectiveness of that training session. So you could have the instructor-led training session, for example, and then you would have an executive to assess the effectiveness, what they feel the effectiveness of that third party, of that consultant was to the training session, and if that training was aligned with the executive team's expectations of that consultant. So observations and comments is another thing, and then also you can look at whether or not the objectives were met for that training session. So in terms of measuring objectives met, you would have to perform that training session, and then you would wait, a couple of weeks, a couple of months to perform another assessment to say, okay, the training was performed here on this date. Let's just say the training was performed in October, and we perform an assessment in January of that next year. Okay, in October, our metrics were here, our numbers were here. In the new year, our numbers were here. Was there an improvement? If there was an improvement based on a predefined number, then our objectives may or may not have been met. Okay, that's another thing. And then also you can have benchmarking on metrics where you can pull data of best in class organizations within your industry or within a particular discipline. So you can do it by industry, by discipline, and then you can say, how does your organization stack up against, the best in class organization. So at the end of the day, we talked about qualitative approaches. The qualitative approaches is through surveys, is through interviews, and then you have the quantitative approach where you take those pre and post test comparisons. But the most effective approach to metrics is going to take a mixed methods approach where you take the qualitative and the quantitative, and that's a mixed methods approach. So for the final slide, we're going to discuss methods for organizational development. So organizational development is a systematic effort to enhance the business environment. It is an approach to increase the culture within an organization. Okay, so there's a number of different ways to increase the culture of the organization, to enhance the culture of the organization, to further develop the organizational environment within a company. And one way to do that is through survey feedback. So again, continuous feedback loops. We can't get away from it. Right. So again, that's going to be a qualitative approach, and that survey feedback is just going to be a simple survey out to the workforce to say, what are some of the things that we can do to improve, the work environment? What are some of the things that we can do to improve your work-life balance, for example? So again, you can view this as a voice of the customer, and you as a leader, your customer is your employee base, right? Just as an organization will send out surveys to their customer base to get feedback on how they can improve their products and services, do the same exact thing for your employees so that you can improve your work environment. Another approach is through quality circles, and quality circles were initiated in Japan, and quality circles is a good way to take people from different disciplines. So for example, when I say different disciplines, I'm talking about you would take people from marketing, people from accounting, people from manufacturing, people from quality, and they are looking to find ways to improve the organization. They're looking for ways to improve the quality of the organization internally. So they would collaborate with individuals from throughout the organization, and they are that internal quality, that internal quality control, internal quality assurance within the company. Okay. Another approach to increase the organizational culture is through team building. And with team building, you're going to find ways to bring workforces together. You're going to bring, hourly employees together with the executive team of the organization. So that is essentially where you're going to create that family type atmosphere within an organization. And that is going to be very important as you begin to build your company, especially if you're a multinational organization. Bring employees from around the world together so they all can collaborate. Now, that's one thing that we've seen time and time again, where employees from multinational organizations, they collaborate all the time via Zoom, right? And they have been collaborating for years, but have never seen each other in person. So if you bring all of those employees together on like a type of retreat, you're going to increase and enhance that organizational culture. You're going to build that family type culture within an organization. And if you're looking to onboard and retain employees, that is one way to do that. And we also have sensitivity training, which is one thing we're seeing sensitivity training coming emerging more and more within organizations. And sensitivity training is essentially how training on how employees can learn how to perceive each other's behavior. So that's where you can essentially view verbal and nonverbal cues. That is one way where you receive training on how you can identify whether or not you have intimidated another employee or something like that. So it's more to just ensure that everyone is on one accord, and that's is again once again to ensure that you have that family type environment where you create that inclusive environment within your organization. And if you do that, everyone feels welcome, everyone feels like their family. So that is the final discussion that we're going to have in this module, and I look forward to discussing more information in the next module. Until next time.